So welcome to our weekly watch list. Might be slightly longer than usual. We obviously didn't do one the week before because we were away in Singapore. We were providing updates, and obviously as of this week we're going to be back in full force. Before we get stuck into it, please make sure you tap that subscribe button, leave a comment. Really looking to grow and get some incentive to post more content on YouTube, longer form content, more educational stuff. And again, eventually, if we do get the turn up, we're going to do some live trading and stuff as well for you guys. So don't forget to subscribe, and we can obviously push out more content for you. Now, the dollar index. We hadn't updated this much following the breakout. We fell just short of our 106 handle. And we spoke about this evident exhaustion here, just short of our 106. We annotated this, and then we started to take off, which was good, which was a move we were looking for. Now, that wasn't able to be sustained, which is quite strange because we were really expecting, this rally and then a pullback here. We were expecting to find a bit of support here and then continue higher. So that obviously didn't happen, and that would have looked something similar to this. But once we had that confirmation here that we exhausted, that was the reversal, and that's all we really managed to achieve. Now, we can kind of avoid that and get rid of that, and we can look at some slightly higher time frames here and see where we are and what we can look to carry forward next week. This is a bit of an evident support zone of 104. Now, if we go to the daily time frame, what do we see? We're kind of holding on there. We've got a bit of demand here. We've got some support here, but we're trading just below. So it will be interesting to see where we land. I'm going to run through US30 as well. So US30 has been, incredible. We had that, 44k marks, and then we sold off as low as 42,170. So around, 1,700, 1,800 points. Which was massive. And we obliterated this range. This was the previous range, and then we dumped, consolidated, dumped, and then again we formed a new range at 43. So again, using those whole numbers, trading between the zones, using whole numbers, psychological numbers, whole numbers, they're really, really important and really powerful. Don't forget about them. Now, we're trading around 42,750. So again, maybe we target this 43 price. I'm not too sure where we are and what we're looking to do and how we're looking to trade at the moment. So we're just waiting for a bit more indication of, what makes sense, basically. NASDAQ, again, we had that big wick to close the week here and then a rejection. So again, if we're looking at this, we sold off as much as 726. So again, just to close the week, that tail there is around just shy of 400 points. So that's very significant as well. So again, whilst we had 44k, we had 21k on NASDAQ. So again, a massive opportunity here, which we were obviously providing our members group. And I think we may have provided one of these to our paid group or free group as well. Anyway, we might be able to see a bit of a rejection here going forward, and this is what I wanted to add on. Now, we had that indicated, great, that's fine. And then we had, let's say, our next position here, which aligns with 20,162. So again, let's say we could enter as close to 200 as possible, and then stops basically cover that, maybe 100 points. We can target the next low, and that would look something like this, a 4-hour opportunity, depending on where we kind of place that stop loss, depending on where we gap, what happens on market open. So this would maybe be the next step, and that obviously is on a basis of a lower time frame structure here, but it still makes sense. We've got support, we break support, we resist, and now hopefully we scallop over, we exhaust and sell off again in line with the continuation. Now, gold, we have had a massive response on gold, and that's played out like poetry. But before we go into that, we're going to just quickly run through PTB. So we've spoken a bit about PTB, Plutus Trade Base, the new prop firm, new to the space, that are offering more products and services than maybe you guys are used to. So this is why we've partnered with them. Depending on how you like to trade will depend on what type of challenge you would like. So again, if you're a professional trader, you've got instant funding. If you're a bit more slower paced, you want to take the challenges, save a bit of money, and reinvest your capital once you get payouts, you want a 1-step or a 2-step, okay? Now, really good reviews. Generally speaking, you've got lots here. You've got cheap prices, you've got big discounts, and so on and so forth. Really good website, easy to navigate. And again, whilst you've got good reviews, you're not always going to have everyone that's going to be happy. Here, for example, you can get a 10% discount on top of this, but you can also use our discount code TSFX. You can check all of the rules. You've got profit targets here. You've got 1-steps, you've got 2-steps, you've got funded live accounts. Lots of information here, adventure, challenge, and instant funding. And of course, you've got loads of FAQs, feedback, and bits and pieces that you can obviously study to make sure that you understand the rules and you're not going to get burnt with anything, upon payout date. So again, this is really, really important, and it's really important with that, whichever firm you trade with, to read the FAQs. Prop firms all have different rules, different profit targets, consistency rules, and so on and so forth. So it's really important that you check out the FAQs. They get updated, join socials and bits and pieces so you can get in the loop with all the updates. Now, back on with gold. We obviously rejected this 29.25 price, and we said, look, this is our preferred sell zone. You could see we were kind of exhausting here with this scalloped over structure. And then again here, top, and then we broke, and then we pulled back 29.25, sold all the way down to 28.35, 900 points, massive. And then we came back up to this 29.25 price, sold off again, sold off again, sold off again, sold off again. So again, don't fix it unless it's broken. We posted this on our Instagram today, and we're basically looking to keep replicating this, selling from this zone until it breaks. Once it breaks, we basically change, what we're looking for. We basically change our dynamic, and we look to buy potentially. So sell zone until it breaks. Simple as that. And then maybe it does break, and we can simply look to change our bias. Let's say, for example, here we've got path, we break, pull back, then we'd simply be looking to buy, and that would look something similar to this. The breakout would be the confirmation of bullish kind of intervention. The pullback would be a natural market correction, and that's when we would look to position our stop loss based on what we see. We can only target the previous high until we set a new high, which may be a target price of $3,000 per electronic ounce, and that's what we would be looking for. Until that happens, we are still bearish bias, so let's not change that. We've got GJ, very choppy. So again, we sold off and got another opportunity here, which was great. We were selling from 190 and we got lots of opportunity. We then broke it. We then came back into structure, and we were speaking to our free group and members group about this. Once we saw that fake out, we came back in, and then we double topped and we sold off really nicely. So that was this move. And again, you got 3R there, bang on 3R, really, really good. And then we broke. So now we're trading north of 190. So this is the 190, like we mentioned on gold. If we break, pull back, and use 2925 as support, we can look to buy. This has happened on GJ. We were selling south of 190, then we break, and then we come and retest underneath, fake out, but we're sustaining a hold above that. So let's say we come back down to 190 again, we're going to look to buy and target 192,500. And that would look something like this. So as it stands, we don't really have any kind of real attractiveness to what we've got here on 190. We're literally looking to catch longs from around 190 if we can come back into that zone. But as it stands, 191,300, there's nothing of interest here. We want it to come back down. We could hopefully argue that we've got somewhat of a range here, and then the bottom of the range would be, let's say, around here. So again, you can see resistance very briefly, and then again, this would effectively be the range we trade. So we're not interested in buying because we're looking for the buy from 190. This too high would be buying from resistance. It doesn't make sense for us. However, there might be an opportunity if we see something like so. Let's say we confirm a bit more of a breakout, but I would still be concerned that this move hasn't been corrected yet. That's why we're looking for a pullback back down to this 190, and hopefully then we can see a bit of more of a systematic kind of rally, which might look something similar to this, which would then give us more confidence that, for example, like this, a bit more of a systematic rally instead of such an aggressive burst like this. We've got 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours. If we can rally, pull back, that would give us more confidence. Now, we don't really have too much to say on UJ or EJ. We're just kind of following those, but cable really taken off. We were looking to sell from 126, and we don't have too much in the way of analysis for that. We're knocking on the door to 130. So 130 would be our next preferred sell zone, and that's going to look something like that sell zone. And again, we can simply look to wait until this alert triggers and then use 130 as our sell zone. Again, 130, it's a psychological price. It's every 500 points, right? So that's really significant for us. 129, 128, 127, whole numbers. Again, they hold significance. But 125, 130, 135, they're much more significant. We could literally look to place our stop loss maybe above that weekly, which is 60 points, and would maybe be targeting this 128 price, again targeting a whole number, and then effectively maybe down to 127, 126, and so on and so forth. So, you know, the kind of scope depends on how we respond, but that's certainly there. And again, you were looking for sells from 105. That played out nicely, but we couldn't sustain it. So again, 2.5, 2.6R, and then eventually we broke higher. So again, probably going to be looking at 110, which is around here. 109 is very, very close, but again, not too much interest there. Crypto's been wild. You know, we sold off from our sell zone and we came all the way down to 78k, which was huge. So again, hopefully we see more from Bitcoin, more selling pressure. That'd be great for us. Really want to see some low prices so we can look to buy that up again on our kind of longer term holds, and that would be great for us. Now, if you've got any questions, then do leave comments below. You know, if you want to see any other pairs, then again, leave comments below. We're more than happy to analyze. Really try to blitz through this. We've got obviously key pairs on our watch list, but we need a bit more, you know, information early on in the week. We're not going to be jumping into anything too soon, until maybe cable 130, until maybe GJ 190, until maybe gold back at 29.25, or US 100 could be something we look to consider. You know, early trade. So we'll see what happens. Again, if you could please tap that subscribe button, that would be great, and we'll see you on the next one.